try this out and see how they do together. Hey sparkly peoples of the interweb, welcome to my crafting coven where we conjure the spirit of Halloween through spellbinding arts and crafts. Hey, and welcome back if you have been here before, and hello if you're new here, and would love it if you subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up and make me a happy witch, because I know you're going to love this video. Today I'm going to be doing a comparison video with these resins that you can purchase off of Amazon. This is Hello.Sparkles Resin and this is Craft Resin. Now I'm going to be upfront with you guys. I do have an affiliate link in my description below if you would love to purchase this, if you end up liking this better throughout the video. I use this resin all the time. That's why I wanted to compare it to this, because these are both readily available on Amazon. The price points are pretty close to each other, so that's why I wanted to compare them, because these are some of the top resins that are on there already. But what I love about this stuff already, I can tell you, is I've done a review on this before, is that it's odorless. You still want to be safe. It does say non-toxic, but that's non-toxic after it cures. So you always want to be safe and always use PPE in a well-ventilated area. No animals, no children, no nothing. That's why I wanted to compare it to this. This stuff is great already. I know this, so that's why I want to be like, oh, let's try this out and see how they do together. This also claims low odor and bubble free. It has all the same, you know, be aware, use gloves, use masks, everything like that. It doesn't say anything about it being non-toxic or anything. We're just going to compare just the basics. Your stirring, your mix time, your work time. Right now it's like 73-ish in my room right now. Somewhere in there. It's in the 70s, the low 70s. It's a little hot for me, but perfect for doing resin. I'm going to be doing cure time, how long you have to work with it, how well it works with mix-ins. This one's a low viscosity, and I believe this one is as well. They are both a 1-to-1 mixing ratio, and they both claim to be bubble free, so we're going to be testing the bubbles in each of these. And what else? What else? There's going to be a lot more. I know that I'll probably talk about as I work with it, but you know, just wanted to give my little bit of this is how I feel video about both these and compare them so you guys can choose what you like better. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to have this lovely thing in my face because it's going to be doing my overhead video. That's the word I'm looking for my for when I do my pour and when I pull them out of the mold. The mix-ins I decided to use are this Recollection Glitters Extra Fine, I think it's holographic. Can't even freaking read it. Do not ingest or apply to hair or skin. Sorry about my skin, man. Bling. It's just super iridescent. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's shiny and I love it. It's glitter. I ended up using the resin epoxy dye from Hippo, which is black, and the light blue as my mix-ins. I wanted to test the blue for how differently it reacted in each of the resin, the types of resin or whatever, and then this I used was the mix-in with glitter. The other glitter I'm going to be using is this orange. I think I mixed this orange, so it's multiple different glitters together because I needed a certain orange when I was making stuff back then. I think you might be able to hear my mower out there. It's not me mowing, obviously, it's my son, so I'm listening for things. So with each of these resins, we are going to be pouring them into the same cup. That means part A and part B are going to be going into the same cup, so you're not wasting product. That means part A will be at 10 milliliters, excuse me, and part B will hit the 20 milliliter mark. That means there are even amounts of hardener and resin in each cup to mix. The last time I did a review on this resin, on the Craft Resin, I'd said that it recommended you using a scale. They no longer recommend you using a scale with this resin, so I would like to correct that. But you need to be using the same equal amounts in each cup. It's just safer to do it by volume and not by weight. That means in a measuring cup, don't do a scale. Do not use a scale. Don't listen to my past video about the scale. I messed up. But at one point they did recommend. They no longer do. So anytime you see me stirring extremely fast, it's obviously sped up for time. Do not stir your resin that fast ever. Here I'm just showing you the Let's Resin bubbles. They do seem like, even with some vigorous stirring, that they're a lot less. And then this is the Craft Resin. There's a lot more micro bubbles in there, I can tell. And you can see there. And that's Let's Resin. I prefer to use a heat gun and a lighter to try to pop some bubbles. I also set my resin to the side while I get the rest of my mix-ins ready so I can let the bubbles come to the top and pop them that way. So right off the bat, the one thing I've noticed with these resins is that the Let's Resin feels a lot thinner when I'm mixing it. Even adding in the glitter, it feels a lot thinner, whereas the Craft Resin feels a little bit more viscous. Not by much, but there is a definite difference. Here I'm going to be adding in 5 drops each of the resin dye to each clear resin. This one is going to be the light blue, so it's just straight resin dye, no glitter, no nothing. On this mix here, I added the bling glitter with 2 drops each of the black resin dye. I wanted to see how well it handled both mix-ins. Here's just a close-up of the Craft Resin before it cures, and this is the Let's Resin before it cures, just so you can see how clear it is and the minimal bubbles it has right now. At this point, it's been about 25 to 30 minutes of work time. You can tell that the Let's Resin is a little bit runny, where the Craft Resin is already starting to get tacky, so you don't have a lot of work time left with that resin. It hasn't quite been 24 hours since I poured these, but it's kind of warm in my room, so things cure a little bit faster when it's warmer. The more warm it is, the faster it will cure because it'll kick in faster. And also it's the shorter amount of work time you have too, so you need to keep that in mind with any resin that you work with. If you feel it kicking, which means the resin itself will get hot, it means it's going to it's going to cure really, really fast, and it's not really great to do. Keep that in mind that if your resin starts getting very warm in your cups when you're filling it or whatever down here, it starts getting warm, that means it's starting the process of it curing. That means you've over stirred it, you put too many additives in it. It could have been, or your ratios are off. It could be a multitude of things that have gone wrong when you're doing that if it's kicking too soon. I'm not great explaining the science behind things. I'm just not great at it. I understand what's happening, but me explaining it is also not great. I'm comparing this as an average person. Like I said, this hasn't been 24 hours, but it's cured faster. You can tell where I dropped things in there. You've seen the video, you saw me mixing things, you've seen what happened. And I tested all of them, and they're not gummy or anything like that. They're hard. What you can hear, they're hard, so therefore it's they're safe. Oh, that one's a little. Okay, maybe I'll put some gloves on. Just kidding. I'm gonna put some gloves on just in case, because I'm pulling these out too soon because I've got things to do. Also, always pull these out if you're going to finish curing them out of the molds, if they're safe enough to take out of the molds, but you don't want to put your fingers in them because obviously fingerprints and everything, but also if you get that on your skin, you still have that chance of it having an allergic reaction to it down the line. You don't want that, because then you can't do a lot of stuff medically if you become allergic to this stuff. This is Craft Resin. I just hit the crap on my table. And this is Let's Resin. So I'm going to start off with the one I already know and what it's going to look like. I want to do the clear one, and I'm going to compare those. So you can already tell right off the bat, it is a little bit bubbly. Other than that, it's fairly clear. I did get some hairs in it, they just landed on them after everything. That's just extra. But there's the micro bubbles that you can see. Other than that, it's fairly clear. The thing I'm going to tell you guys about this stuff, unless you have a vacuum chamber, or there's another one, like where you seal it or whatever. Unless you have one of those, you're not going to get out every single micro bubble by hand and just letting it sit. You can get out the vast majority of it with heat and a lighter. Somebody suggested in the video I had made about the Craft Resin, where I did my first review on Craft Resin and Michael's resin, about spritzing it with alcohol. And I have a whole reason why I don't like to use alcohol in my products or in my resin. It's just because I have issues with it personally. I've never have found where it works or cures correctly with alcohol. I prefer the heat. I know it's not great for your molds. I understand that, but I also will buy and get a new mold if I were to damage it. So that part doesn't really bother me as much. So that being said, you can take alcohol and spritz it and pop all the bubbles on top of your stuff. I just personally don't like it. That's just my personal feeling on things. I just don't like it. I've never had good success with it. I've never had good success with alcohol inks in my stuff. So that's just me. And I probably will never use alcohol or alcohol inks in my things unless I have found a way to do it properly. I'm not patient enough for them, I should say. Let's get back to this. Yeah, you can see all the bubbles on there. It's not bad. I mean, it looks pretty clear there without it. Obviously, I dropped the glitter in there, so it's going to be there. It does have some pockets there where I tried to go around with the toothpick and pop all those bubbles, but I just didn't do a great job. I wasn't really worried about it because I was just focused on the clarity of this. This is the Let's Resin. It's about the same and having the same pockets there. You can see the bubbles. If anything, it does probably have less bubbles. Yeah, it has less bubbles and might appear a little bit clear. Just a smidgen clear, but I think a lot of that's to do with the other resin I got in this one. I'm in my gloves and smelling. I'm smelling something, but I think I can smell the lingering smell of the Let's Resin. So Let's Resin does have a smell to it. It's very, very slight, where Craft Resin did not have a smell in my room to me. It did, like, once it cured, it went away. Like, all the smell went away in my room. So it disappeared fairly quickly. So this one's not completely cured. You can tell that I just put some thumb marks on it. So I'll show you again. That's how you know it's not cured. That's why I put gloves on. I thought this was cured. It is not. And it does move ever so slightly. But other than that, oh yeah, this is a lot more rubbery than that one. So this one's definitely not cured. But overall, they're both pretty good. I think I'm going to give, man, they're both good. I'm going to give the Craft Resin a 4.5, and I'm going to, for clarity, and I'm going to give the Let's Resin a 4.5. And remember, I am giving my honest opinion with these, even though I have an affiliate link. So I try to mix the same amount. That's a lot of glitter. In, I did 2 drops of black in these, and when I did the mixture, and I did a fair amount of glitter in both of these. So this is the Craft Resin. It made all the glitter go to the back, and you can tell that it is, ooh, I am not even, I'm like over here. Sorry. You can tell that all the glitter came to the front where it settled down into a mold. It is kind of see-through. I don't know if you can see that down there or not. Let's see. A little bit, but not bad. It's a lot clearer than this one is appearing to me. So the opaqueness of this black versus that one is way different, which is weird because I did 2 drops in both of them for the Craft Resin and Let's Resin. So let's compare this one. Okay. Oh yeah, that settled a lot more. Yeah, look at that. It didn't even mix, it didn't mix into the side like this one did. So Let's Resin, Craft Resin. This one just, it all dropped to the front, and instead of kind of being suspended like this one does. This one is better at suspending things. This did collect in the back a little bit, but not bad. This is a little bit darker than this one. It's, again, 2 drops of the black, but that is super glittery. I mean, I love it. Doesn't mean everybody else is going to. Alright, the orange on the Let's Resin. It did the same thing. All the glitter, it didn't suspend. It all dropped to the front. This is just glitter, but all the glitter dropped to the front. There's barely any suspended, if there's any in there, in the Let's Resin. Craft Resin. It's suspended. It's throughout it. You can tell that has it mixed in fairly well. It does have some in the front, but it's not as, I keep forgetting my camera is actually over here. How it's suspended through the we'll call them charms. How it's suspended through the charms versus you can see it here and it's clear and it's all dropped straight into the front. Let's try just a clear blue on the Craft Resin. I can't remember how many, I'll put on the screen how many here. It's very clear, very, very pretty. There's hardly any bubbles in this at all. Obviously it's got the little dings in there because I wasn't super concentrated on getting these out like I normally would be. There are some bubbles, but not a whole lot. I feel like there could have been way more. The large bubbles are gone, but the micro bubbles are obviously going to still be there. So that's Craft Resin Blue, and the Craft Resin Blue Ghost, and the Let's Resin Blue Ghost. There are fewer micro bubbles in this. I did get hair on it because it dropped in there before I caught it, and I didn't realize. But look how much less bubbles there are compared to the Craft Resin. They're still not bad though. Like, you can't see them unless you're just like, let me look. No. So it's still really, really pretty. Either way. They are a different blue almost. Just by looking at that there. This one does. Just by looking at that there. This one does look darker to me. Does it do it to you? Or do they look the same? Oops. Either way, not bad. For mix-ins, for just straight color, nothing else in there, I'm going to give this a 5-star and this a 4.5-star because it is a different color. It's a lot lighter, so you're gonna have to add more to me. It's a lot more concentrated to me, so you're gonna have to use less if you want a lighter color, use more if you want the same color as this, because you can tell that to me that they are different colors. At least in person, they are different colors. Like, even here, you can tell that these are different colors. And that's the same blue as this. They just poured the leftovers in. For clarity, I really love the clarity on the Let's Resin. Like, I think that's definitely a lot clearer than the Craft Resin. So I made other little ones because they were extra I had. So this is Craft Resin and this is Let's Resin. You can see, maybe I just didn't mix it well enough too. That might have been my problem, but you can see that this definitely has more bubbles than the Let's Resin. So that does suck. But again, let me reiterate that I might have over-stirred these, like vigorously over-stirred it because I didn't think I stirred it enough. So that was part of it, and I thought I under-stirred this. But I love that clarity on there. It's just going to be straightforward and honest. I love that Craft Resin has been extremely consistent, though. I use this all the time. I love Craft Resin. But for clarity, I'm going to say that clarity, the Let's Resin is definite winner. In smell, it's the definite loser. Whew, because I think I'm giving myself a headache in here. Because usually my room is not smelling like this still. This one never has a smell to me, ever. And I have a very, very particular nose. I can pick up smells that other people don't smell and people think I'm nuts. And I'm like, no, there's a smell. And then they finally smell it as we get closer or whatever it is. They get like more into it. I can smell it further away than other people. It's very weird. It's very, very weird. I'm a little bit of a weirdo. For the Let's Resin, I think it wins in clarity. For the smell, the Craft Resin definitely wins. Whew, yeah, I'm getting a headache. For mix-ins, I love Craft Resin. And this is what I usually use it for. I usually use it to mix stuff in. I barely ever do clear, crystal clear. So if you're going to be doing crystal clear resin casting and you don't care about the smell because you're putting yourself in a well-ventilated area with openings and using PPE, we'll just say that again, I definitely would go with the Let's Resin for that. But if you're using it for mix-ins and stuff, I think the Craft Resin is the definite winner on those fronts there. I think that this video has definitely showed what it can and can't do and what's better about it. I will continue to use the Let's Resin for if I needed just to cast something in something for clarity. I love being able to know that I can use that. I do love how shiny those are, but I don't like it all being at the front. That's just my personal preference. If you like your glitters to settle all to the front, then go with this, because I can tell you right now, if I was using my bat molds that have the pegs in the back, all of this would be straight on the pegs and I would absolutely hate it and it would make me mad. That's one way of looking at it. So for overallness, Craft Resin is good for mixings and smell and any kind of charm stuff like that. It's great for that. I have more than this small bottle. This is just what I had right here that I was still using. Let's Resin is great for clarity. So if you're casting things that need just a clear piece, I would definitely go with this. And if you're casting charms and such like that, that you're not going to be using a lot of clearness with, I would definitely go with the Craft Resin. I love Craft Resin, like I said. I have no issues with Craft Resin, and I'll probably go back and forth using both. Like I said before in the beginning, that I do have an affiliate with Craft Resin, so if you want to purchase some and try this out for yourself, please click the link in my description below for 10% off. I haven't got an affiliate with Let's Resin, but I do love their molds and stuff. I've always used their molds. Craft Resin hasn't really released any molds, but they do release like other mix-ins, pearl powder, glow-in-the-dark powder, which is fabulous. I love the glow-in-the-dark powder they have. It was so cool to use to make glow-in-the-dark earrings and charms and stuff like that. Do with all this information what you will. I just wanted to give a little bit of review and a comparison video, not necessarily saying, oh, you definitely should go with this one or you definitely should go with that one. I love them both. And I have my reasons I will use them both, like stated before. Clarity and mix-ins are a huge matter in what you're working with. It depends on what you're working with and what you're doing. Yeah, so do with all that information what you will. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, because it makes me oh so happy. And yeah, I just hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, witches.